Hello everyone and welcome to the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I am a real big toy collector hunkered down here in Southeast Portland. And today I would like to talk to you about a line of action figures that some of you have probably seen along the way, but you didn't really know that much about. It is a line of novelty figures made by a company called Accoutrements, or Accoutrements, as we like to say in French Canada. And these are sort of novelty historical figures that existed long before the Super 7 reaction figures existed. And this was kind of the start of the tchotchke action figures, as I like to think of them. These are the kinds of action figures that you would see somewhere, maybe like a gift shop or some sort of a a place that's not generally known for toys that might make for like a cool sort of white elephant gift for somebody, that sort of thing. And I have acquired quite a few of these over the years. I don't collect them specifically, but when they do come up and they're cheap, I usually pick them up and add them to the collection. I thought, wouldn't it be great if we just went through and looked at what I've got and we talked about what's good about them and also what's bad about them. And I think it might be kind of interesting. So everybody, let's all come together, strap on the leather, and let's hold on tight. Let's cut over, shall we, to the bench. My cam 2 is ready to go. I'll actually adjust the camera 1 so that you can see me over there. And go. I'll walk over. All right, so the first guy that we're going to talk about is this Edgar Allan Poe figure. It's probably, if you're going to have any of these guys, you should probably have this guy. Now, one of the main problems with the Accoutrements line is that they are 5-inch action figures, which means they're going to be small when you put them up against your kind of 6-inch guys, your Black Series, your Marvel Legends, any of the other, indie toy companies out there. Now, some people are actually not 6 feet tall themselves in real life. They can be a little bit smaller, and so some of these guys might work. But if you ever find yourself doing action figure photography where you're doing some kind of storytelling and you need a historical figure, well, these are your guys. So in the case of the Edgar Allan Poe figure, he does have some articulation in the legs. They do kind of swivel forward and back. He does have arms that swivel forward and back. He does have pins in the elbows so you can kind of move the arms. He does have this raven attached to his shoulder, and I have to admit, it's kind of stupid. It would be cool if you could take it off, because you don't always want this guy to show up with a bird on his shoulder, but there it is. It's glued on. You can rip it off, and it'd be great, like I said, if it was kind of thing that would attach. But since these are novelty figures that they're selling as kind of tchotchkes at sort of gift shops, this is the sort of thing that you need to do to sell somebody that it's in Edgar Allan Poe. When I say novelty figure at a gift shop, I'm talking about this is a impulse buy. So that's our first look at the Edgar Allan Poe, and his face looks pretty good. The outfit looks pretty good, and overall it's pretty convincing. So we'll put him over there. We'll move on. So this is our Da Vinci figure, and he's got a paintbrush in his hand, and these guys usually come with some types of accessories. I don't always have all the accessories. When I do, I have this. So this is a little easel, and it comes with his Vitruvian Man and some other of his paintings that he did. And this guy's not bad. He's kind of looks like he's maybe like a magic wand wizard guy. The legs do have articulation. They do move back and forth, kind of like the other guy. Poe, his arms swing forward. He's got pins at the elbows, so you can do a little bit of posing. But again, it's really more about if you need a historical figure and you're trying to sell somebody on some kind of an idea. Put that away. We'll keep moving on. So check this out. Here's a Cleopatra figure that they make. Now, she does not have movable legs, okay? But the arms have lots of pins, and I don't like the fact that they didn't color the pins. I do not like that the pins are metal colored, but the reason why they gave her a bunch of pins in the wrist, the shoulders, the elbows, is so that she can do that walk like an Egyptian pose, you know what I'm talking about? It's so that you can do goofy poses with her. And this is not sort of the greatest Cleopatra figure out there. The greatest Cleopatra figure out there is, of course, a 6-inch Dark Horse Comics Betty Page as Cleopatra figure out there. You can find a shot of it with an Iron Maiden Eddie on my Instagram. Recommend my Instagram for those of you who are not followers. Get in there. But this Cleopatra, overall, if you're just trying to shoehorn her into some sort of a motif, not bad. Let's put her over there. Let's move on to this guy, Sigmund Freud. Now he comes with a cigar, because sometimes a cigar is a prop for Sigmund Freud. Now to me, I know he's Sigmund Freud, but you know, if you were to paint this guy's coat white, he could be Colonel Sanders from Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's all I'm saying here. But similar to the other guys, he's got the movable arms that swing, and he's got the pin at the elbow, but he does not have movable legs. He's essentially a statue. The head does turn, though, so that's kind of a good thing if he needs to be looking one direction. Let's keep going. Here's an Annie Oakley. She was a sharpshooter in some kind of like a Wild West show, a Buffalo Bill show, so she comes with a gun, and they gave her actually elbow joints so that she could bend her arms and hold the gun. And this is not the greatest figure. She does have movable legs, right? They do swing forward and backwards. But if you ever just want kind of a generic cowgirl in the background, it's not bad. And there's a little bit of tampo that went on her dress. It looks nice. Overall, it's a very sort of aesthetically pleasing figure. But most people probably don't know who it is. And I wouldn't blame them if they looked at it and didn't know. So let's move on to this guy. This is Pope Innocent III. I have no idea who this guy is historically. I'm not going to pretend that I've read up on this dude or who he is. Just one of these guys that I happen to have picked up. And he came actually with this sort of, this little kind of scrolly thing, which is itself kind of cool if you're looking for little scrolly things. But for me, I just think he's just another thing that you would shoehorn in the background. And I don't think anyone's going to know who he is. But he's in the collection, might as well show it off. Okay, let's keep going. Now, they made a bunch of these composers, these sort of classical composers. And let's see if I can get these guys out here. There is a, there's essentially 4 altogether, but really only 3 that you would want. Okay. So you have a Beethoven, right? Good to have. Let me just move the cam over a little bit. You have a Beethoven, you have a Mozart, and you have a Bach. And you can see they kind of share a little bit of some parts. They do bend at the knees, which is nice. They do bend at the arms. They do have arms that swivel. They have the most articulation out of everything I've seen. If you were to go shopping for any of these figures, these are the figures that you should buy because they're going to look the most recognizable. People will see them, and they may not know a Bach from a Mozart or a Mozart from a Beethoven, but they'll get the idea that there's some sort of classical guys. Now, they did make a 4th dude. I'm going to move this over there. There is a Wagner, and most people are not going to know who this guy is because he's a more modern dude. Look, he's got a modern suit and a modern sort of beret. And he looks like some sort of a professor. So if you just need a generic professor, right, this is your guy. But I highly recommend that you look around for these guys because they have the most articulation, and there's really nothing else in your action figure collection that's going to look like these guys that have the wigs and dress like dandies. So these get a recommend without a doubt. Now, I've got a couple more to go in this crazy show of terrible sort of action figures that are not reaction figures. Of course, there's this Jesus figure, right? And what's weird is that he's actually on wheels. He's like a wind-up toy or something. Like maybe he's supposed to wind back. He's got a little bit of articulation. You can move the arms, the elbows bend, that kind of thing. But really, if it's just you're doing some kind of thing and you need like a Jesus-looking dude, of course, there's 1,000,001 nativity scenes out there, so you can find figurines all the time if that's what you really wanted. However, there he is. He's an action figure. He's plastic. You can get him. Now, similar to him is a Moses guy, and this guy actually came with 10 Commandments. I have the 10 Commandments. Don't know where they are. They're in some plastic bag somewhere. He also came with a staff. Pretty sure that I have the staff as well. Don't know where it is. But similarly, you get a Moses guy. The legs don't move, but the arms move, so you could kind of pose them and do some stuff. Not particularly great, but every once in a while you might come up with a cool skit for your Moses action figure. Now, before I go back to the desk, I've got a few guys that I've picked up that are still in the package. There is this, and do I need to back up the cam for this? It looks like I do. Give me a second, people. Give me a second. All right. I have an Albert Einstein I picked up, and $3 is what I paid, if you can see the tag on it. And this is what the packaging looks like on these, so you get an idea that this is the kind of thing that's like hanging in a shop and someone sees it and they're like, oh, my science professor or teacher would think this is funny or something, or my math teacher, I'm going to get it for instance. It's an impulse buy. These are kind of crap, but if you need an Einstein action figure, here it is. All right. Now, there's some other figures that they did that are not historical figures. They're just funny characters like this. Librarian. Now, they call her Nancy Pearl. I don't know if that's an actual person, right? Or if that's just who they decided to call this person. But it's basically a librarian. So if you have somebody who's a friend who's a librarian, you buy this and you get it to them as a gift. And they do some other stuff like this that I'm going to show you in just a bit, because we're going to do a Google image search and look at a couple that I don't have. And I also want to point out that there is that the main company behind Accoutrements is actually called Archie McPhee. And Archie McPhee also puts out figures, the exact same company, exact same brand essentially, that do the same thing. And here's one that I picked up recently. This I paid $4 for. Rosie the Riveter. Basically, it's that poster of Rosie the Riveter, that We Can Do It, as an action figure. And kind of a cool box, kind of, you know, World War II-ish, that sort of thing. But this is the kind of market that they're going for. Impulse buy tchotchkes. So, let me cut back over to here. Hello, everyone. And let's take a look at the desktop. Let's cut over. So, this is a Google image search of just Accoutrements action figures. A few of the guys that I don't have that you can see. There's a Houdini one. There's this one that is everywhere. It's the Crazy Cat Lady. You'll probably see her the most. It's probably their best-selling one. It's funny that I haven't come across it yet, or maybe I have and like Goodwill wanted too much money. They put like $7 on it, and you're like, no. But what's funny is that I have found almost all the cats that come with it. It comes with 5 little cats, and I find them loose all the time. And so I've collected the cats. Let's see, Sigmund Freud, Moses, Charles Dickens is another one that you can get. Looks like Archie McPhee also does like a hula girl, of course. Then there's some joke ones, like there's one called Hipster or Beatnik or something like that. It's this dude. Some different heads, which I think is kind of interesting. Oh, look, here's a Sherlock Holmes one, right? That'd probably be a good one to have. And let's see, here's Anne Bonny, who was like a female pirate. That's like her claim to fame, is she was a pirate, but she was a woman. Here, of course, is the packaging for the Beethoven, Mozart, Bach, etc. So I think you guys more or less get the idea about what this line is about. It's too bad that they're not exactly 6 inches. At 5 inches, they're just a little small, and that means they don't really play nice all the time with your other figures if you're trying to shoehorn them into a scene. But, like I said, if you're trying to do something, a Halloween thing, and you want to do some sort of Edgar Allan Poe, they've got an Edgar Allan Poe. Or if you're trying to do something, some kind of a Sigmund Freud, a psychologist, they've got one. Or if you're trying to do something with like a harpsichord, and you want a Bach or a Mozart, they've got one. So in that instance, they're pretty good. Of course, the articulation on these guys is god-awful, but again, they're really just kind of tchotchkes. You got to think of these as really being sort of like the reaction figures, in which case, not a bad deal if you find them cheap, but if you have to pay a lot of money for them, like say if you spend $30 for a D. Snyder, I think that hurts, people. I think that hurts. So, what do you guys think? Accoutrements, complete crap or just semi-crap? Let me know. Best answer, of course, could win. Yes, that's right. Taxman working t-shirt. And as always, people, you know the drill. Stay charged.